Hope you're well. So, just wanted to do a review of the Supernatural episodes season 15 so far. I would do it all in one video, but it'll take absolutely forever. Because I have very strong opinions on the show, with a massive fan, and yeah, I could rant on and on and on and on forever. But I feel strongly on the writing of the first few episodes of season 15. I'm sorry, but it's bloody awful. So yeah, I'm just gonna do one video one by one. So first I'm going to start off with the season 15 opener. And guys, it's just a mess. The writing, what are they thinking? It's just all over the place. It's like, okay, there's a great opening shot of Sam, Dean and Cass fighting off against the angry zombies and ghosts. I'll give the director credit for that. That was great. But the rest, there's not much positives I can say on the open episode. As a die-hardcore fan for a long time of this show, I don't know what they were doing with it. I think they just snoozed over summer when they were filming. They just forgot, the writers just forgot about the core of the show. It's been going for so long, the early seasons, the brothers' like relationship. Then the other characters, like the ghost mythology as well. It's just really lame. It's just like a high school student shot on a really low budget on like iMovie or something, or on the phone. The editing was not great. It was really low quality as well. It's really a bit choppy. It wasn't high quality as what I've seen it before on previous episodes. I will say, as a good introduction to Belphegor, Alexander Calvert played him brilliantly. So that was cool. It's good they wanted him to play a different character, obviously, because Jack at that current time wasn't there. And then obviously we got a snippet of him seeing him in the empty. You're like, oh my god! And then it's like, what? Oh, he's in the empty. Like, what's gonna happen now? When's Jack gonna come back? And obviously, later on you get the reveal of Billy and stuff saying to Jack, we have work to do. And then we're like, ooh, what kind of work? So it's good they did that. Yeah. I do think with Belphegor though, he was trying too hard to be like Crowley. Like with the jokes and the banter and stuff, which he was trying with Dean and things, like Crowley did that with him. And in like the earlier seasons, especially season 9 when they had their little bromance over summer. But he did it well. Mark Sheppard did it well though. He delivered that well. It's not Alexander Calvert's fault. He's a brilliant actor. It's the writing. It's just bloody lazy. They could have done so much more of that character when he introduced him, and then just didn't do anything with him, which is a shame. Not the best written episode by Andrew Dabb. Why am I surprised? It's Andrew Dabb. He pisses all over every episode I've seen him do in this show. He doesn't know the characters well at all. He claims he knows the brothers. I'm sorry, as a fan, he does not know the brothers. If he knew the brothers, he'd write them well. And he wouldn't cause unnecessary drama and ridiculous special effects. Where the ghosts are shown in daylight, they don't look scary in daylight. It takes away from the whole feel of season 1 when the actual ghosts look scary. As well, I'm sorry who the colorist was on this, but for the atmosphere of Supernatural, it needs to be a lot grittier and darker. So using dark, you have to use darker colours. This was too bright, and then it took away from that eerie factor and feel. I know they're great colourists, they probably are, but like that was from the direction of probably the post-production coordinator as well as the writers. So, let's shoot in daylight and see the ghosts not being very scary looking, and we forget every single ghost mythology in the past 14 seasons that's been going on. No, there's no excuse for lazy writing, I'm sorry, but no. I'm not buying it, Mr. Dab. Sorry. As a season opener, I expected so much more. It just left me feeling really disappointed, underwhelmed as well. I set my expectations too high for this, really, so it is one of the worst season openers I've ever watched of Supernatural, so that's kind of saying a lot. Especially it being the final series ever. I expected it to start with a bang, and it didn't. It was really slow to get going. Yeah, I don't get the high praise that I've seen from fans on IMDb. Maybe it's this nostalgia factor, which if that's the case, I completely understand. Because I did love that they did put throwbacks to the season 1 cases Sam Dean did, like the woman in white. That was cool. But again, obviously it's a different actress from the pilot, but she was smiling. It looked really weird. No. She looked comical. She didn't look scary in the slightest. The woman in white's meant to be scary. They just didn't. They've obviously forgotten not to take notes from the pilot and how she was meant to look and act. And they're talking as well. Oh, the dialogue was just really cringe, guys. I'm sorry, but it was. Yeah, just it started off well with that opening shot of them fending off the angry zombies and then ghosts and everything, and then it just went downhill after that. Yeah, again, the references were great, but no, after that, stupid. You can throw so many nostalgic throwbacks, callbacks in an episode, but it won't save it. Obviously, you know I love Jensen, Jed, Amisha, Alex as well, but obviously Ruth. Even then, they can't save this dreadful opener. It's probably down to the poor direction, the poor writing of this episode. Yeah, so not really good. Yeah, they're trying to give a how is this the end vibe as well. I wasn't getting that because that's completely different from what we got from the season 14 finale. When Chuck, it was built up and Chuck, you got the face of Chuck going, that's it, end of story. You want this is the end, and then it cuts to all the angry spirits surrounding Sam, Dean and Cass. With a dead Jack, obviously. Then they seem to have completely oh, we'll just abandon this idea now. We'll just throw everything randomly into this episode. They packed too much in. It's just, yeah, they were rushing it as well. They could have taken the time with the writing in the writing department to actually come up with a really decent story for it. Made it well paced, because it really wasn't. Just don't be Game of Thrones, please, because they rushed their last season and it was awful. They must have been watching Game of Thrones when they were writing this opener. Ugh, dread to think. So yeah. Also, what pissed me off, why were Sam and Dean so trusting in Belphegor, willing to put their absolute trust in them? That again is bad writing, because the real Sam and Dean would not be so trusting of a demon when they've just seen their own adoptive son just die, God kill him. They completely forgot about like Sam and Dean's relationship with Jack. Cass is the only one that seems to remember this, like, oh, I actually give a crap about Jack. Whereas in season 1501, Sam and Dean completely forgot, like, oh yeah, we really cared about Jack. Despite they accidentally killed our mother, but they put that beside him, and then, yeah. And they forgave Jack, didn't they? So it's like, oh no, we're gonna like undo all this that we did in the season 14 finale, and like, Sam and Dean just gonna trust this random demon that's possessing their dead adoptive son's body. No, it does not make logical sense whatsoever. That's down to, again, bad writing. Naughty writers. The ghost thing's really illogical as well. How can the ghost just randomly disappear like that, like going to dust? It does not make any sense. Ghosts can teleport. Why were they running after the boys? They've not done that in earlier seasons. It's like, oh my head. It's like a Constance Welsh, Woman in White. She didn't run after him. Like, she was like menacing, and in the Impala she was like trying to kill Sam, and then Dean like got there just in the nick of time and he shot her, and then she disappeared. Why is she not disappearing in this episode along with the other ones, along with the creepy clown? And then as well, Bloody Mary, what's going on there? She scratches people's eyes out. Like, where's her fear factor gone? It just makes them like characters of themselves, like in their episodes in season 1. Yeah, I love that Cass still remembered Jack. I was happy about that, but I wasn't happy about the guys forgetting him. Not cool. Also, why did they choose to shoot this episode mostly in daylight? If you got ghosts, angry spirits, a menace, an evil clown, it's all shot in nighttime. They don't look freaky in the day. Like that clown episode, Throwback, that was at night with him and Sam. That was creepy. When you see him in daylight, he is not creepy. It's just, this whole episode felt like a parody or like a spoof of the show itself. It's just, no, I couldn't take it seriously. Missing that spooky atmosphere from season 1. Yeah. Where was the highway kind of scene? That was creepy in the pilot when Woman in White was there, and then the Impala was possessed and chasing Sam and Dean off the highway. Also, the mirror scene, Bloody Mary, when Sam was on the ground, and then she was like, his eyes were like bleeding, he had like blood marks there, and she's doing the same with Dean, and then Dean like smashed the mirror and she disappeared. None of that was there. Also, what I found really annoying is the scenes with Sam and the clown, John Wayne, what's he called, Gacy, that's it, clown ghost. So one minute you have the ghost like attacking Sam, and then knifing him, and then the next he's got the same knife out again after punching and kicking him as well, and then Cass miraculously saves him and heals the wound. It's like, what? Then you cut to the Woman in White catching Dean off guard and then just knocking him out, and she doesn't even bother killing him, which is really out of character for her, because have you seen the pilot? She kills her victims. She says they are unfaithful. That's why she kills them in the first place. She completely just like abandoned her story, mythology. Oh no. Then she just randomly would focus on the demon. What? Just What is that about? Oh, I don't get it. Makes no sense. Then just Dean gets finished off with a crowbar, hitting her head with a crowbar. Which is, woo, go Dean for that. Then the ghosts just appear incredibly stupid, like they're not intelligent. When, you know, in the early seasons they are very intelligent. And then they can catch the boys off guard and very challenging. Here, like, the writing was dumbed down, like, they weren't challenging whatsoever. And they can forget they teleport. That's, silly. Writers, no. Obviously, I liked the throwback to the pilot at the end where you had Sam and Dean opening the Impala trunk, and then you saw the flashback from the pilot where Sam says the famous sorry, I can't get the words out. Says the famous line, "We've got work to do," and then the door of the trunk of the Impala goes down. So yeah, that was cool. I liked that. But yeah, the rest of it was a complete shambles. Also, Dean disrespecting Cass. Not cool. Come on, he already beat him up about that in the last season. When they found out about the mum dying. Yeah, okay. I know Dean was grieving, but I'm sorry, he was being an asshole here. And I am a Dean fangirl. I'm a Dean fan as well. But even here, I knew he was being a dick. There's no need for it. Honestly, in the early seasons, they had their past disagreements, but then Dean eventually came around and he forgave him. You know, he's as stubborn as an ox. He forgave him. He didn't, hold grudges that long against him. But yeah, he's kind of copying for everything here. But the reason is for, blaming him for his mother's death, I'm like, well, it wasn't Cass's fault. He had no part in it. He wouldn't do anything to save her. He's probably blaming it on Cass because he's not fully powered up. He's not got his whole angel powers back when he should have done because he got back years ago. So I don't get that either. That's really inconsistent bad writing and a plot hole there as well. The writers need to address that as well. What is going on here with Cass? Why has he not got his full power back? Why is he acting really weak when he's an angel and he has not been weak in the past when he's been able to smite enemies just like that? Again, pissing on Cass's character again. Yeah, just grief is one thing. Being an asshat and then just keep pecking and pecking and pecking and going on at Cass. It's not cool. I know they eventually make up, but it should have been sooner that they made up. Obviously, because I've watched up to episode 12 now, so I know what happens. After episode 9, they do make up, but it shouldn't have been left that late for them to make up, and then Dean being stubborn and willing to accept he was wrong, why he's the way he is. But yeah, the special effects were awful. I'm sorry. Who did the special effects department? I know they have a low budget anyway, but this was even lower than I've seen in earlier seasons, and they've done a really good job on the budget they have in earlier seasons with the effects. Yeah, dreadful. The makeup costumes weren't great either. And it feels like with the ghost mythology, they're just making it up as they're going along. Like, they just rewrote the season 1 mythology like it wasn't even there. And it's kind of like it's like disrespecting Eric Kripke's vision as well of season 1. In my opinion, I think it is. And he's the one that created it, so they should respect what he did for season 1 and then carry that on into this season, and then do that justice within this storyline. Yeah, I've got a lot of unanswered questions as well, especially the ghosts in this episode. What's causing them to stay there? Because that's not been explained. If a ghost's there, they have to be there for a reason. Someone has to tie them into certain locations. Maybe if it be unfinished business. No explanation why they were there. and why they were in broad daylight, randomly on streets. And the cheesy action choreography with them, was it the mother and the daughter? Oh, that was really bad. But I did find it funny seeing Jed run. I did like it for that though, that was funny. But yeah. I don't know why people really praise Dab so much. I don't know. What other series has he written episodes for? Because I don't know. I just find him quite weak of a writer. He's not really my favourite on Supernatural. But yeah. Colour grading's too bright, like I mentioned before. The lighting was really bad as well. It needs to be toned down. Wooden acting. Some of the actors, obviously not all of them, not the main. It's just like, how have you forgotten to act when you've been filming it over summer? Yeah, just I wasn't impressed. So for me, with season 15 opener, I'm gonna feel like I put 3 out of 10 to be generous to Jensen, Jed, and Misha and Alex, but I'm sorry, it's gonna have to be a 2. Just god awful. Yeah, and then obviously I'm going to insert them scenes as well. The ones I was mentioning with the really bad lighting, the costumes and the effects, and then and then obviously the random inconsistent editing, obviously with when Sam was getting attacked by the clown. And then Dean just being disrespectful to Cass as well. I'm gonna put like little past scenes from the early seasons to see how they reconciliated early seasons, and then obviously late season what they've been doing. It's like really unhealthy. So, yeah. Also, the mythology I'm gonna throw back in there as well from the pilot 105, and then one with the clown episode. To show the writers how it was done in them episodes, and then they can see, and then they can remember what the eerie lighting was like, and the editing and the colorist work. Yeah. So that was for sorry, the video cut off yesterday when I was doing my review of Supernatural 1501. Some weird reason. Phone just cut out. So sorry about that. But yeah, so I decided to call a separate video to end that video from my review. So that was my review of 1501. If you liked it, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Yasmin Knowles. And I also have a Patreon account as well, where you can follow me on. And I put all my videos on my Facebook page, Yasmin Knowles, as well. So yeah, you can follow me on those social media sites. And as I promised in the previous video, I will insert the clips of what I mentioned from Bloody Mary and The Woman in White, and with the clown ghost, Nadine and Cass, just to see the comparisons. I think it'd be really interesting comparisons with like the directing, the lighting, the choreography, this action choreography stunts as well. Yeah. But 1502 will be up shortly, so
Come into this one.
It's your fault. You killed her. You killed Jessica.
You never told her the truth. Who you really were. But it's more than that, isn't it? Those nightmares you've been having of Jessica dying, screaming, burning. You had them for days before she died. Didn't you? You were so desperate to be normal, to believe they were just dreams. How could you ignore them like that? How could you leave her alone to die? You dreamt it would happen!
You killed them. All of them. You killed them. It's your fault. You killed her. You killed Jessica.
Rachel, you should try this. Rachel! Rachel!
Shut up.
You okay?
Yes, but
Good.
Your father. Beautiful handwriting.
How you feeling, Cass?
Fine.
Well, I know that when I got puked out of purgatory, it took me a few weeks to find my sea legs.
I'm fine.
But don't get me wrong, I'm happy you're back. I'm freaking thrilled. It's just this whole mysterious resurrection thing. Always has one mother of a downside.
So, what do you want me to do?
Maybe take a trip upstairs.
To heaven?
Yeah, poke around, see if the God Squad can't tell us how you got out.
No.
Look, man, I hate those flying ass monkeys just as much as you do, but...
Dean, I said no.
Talk to me.
Dean, when I was bad, and I had all those things, the Leviathans writhing inside me, I caused a lot of suffering on Earth, but I devastated
heaven. I vaporized thousands of my own kind, and I can't go back.
Because if you do, the angels will kill you.
Because if I see what heaven's become, what I made of it, I'm afraid I might kill myself.